technology gives us and which how bridges. Great to see everybody here. Thanks so much for coming out. Are we ready to go? I'll be things off to the people.
So, my name is Tony. I've been studying throughout like 8 or 9 years. I 13 years old. Um, and um, and I have the few a few things in general about like being a person who's others. And so a few of those, I guess, things I've learned and things. So, one, I would say that all of you will do not just see me as like as something that needs to be like fixed, but as something that's like unique but not like bad or something to like hold against me. I would say that you are interacting with those who's done this one simple things to keep in mind. I could also say that I want the world to be have more spaces like these where people can like really be good, because being good it's pretty awesome, probably something we don't feel again in enough of. And then what if I use those to have a space like this where they can be free of interruptions and like stuff. And they can feel free to start. So those are few ideas on to wrap up. I'd say that anything you can do to help someone who's others helps a lot. I feel like that help is amazing. Like it'll feel extremely empowered. So yeah.
Hello, my name is Johnny Story and I am a person who stutters. I have stuttered for, I think, 7 years now, and I have learned some various tips for relaxing with people who stutter that I'm hoping to pass on today. So first of all, it can help to just be as patient as you can, and patience is hard, except it really means a lot if you listening to the thoughts that someone who stutters, and my tip is about how to think to people who stutter and how to interact with them in the most effective way possible. and and that they this friends he would interact with someone he studies just please try to be aware that it's not their choice to study and that even if it is their choice, that is their own choice to make. And we, as people who study, can't change how we talk. But if you interact with someone who studies, you can change the way you listen in a way to make it a more comfortable and less stressful situation. And then on to my last tip, if you also want to studies, just know that people who might come off as disrespectful oftentimes not trying to be. So if you're in a situation like this, just know that a lot of people might be hearing, studying with time and one last thing as to what I would like to be in the future. I would really like to be a creative emphasis in the world of John. Making it clear that every human's voice matters and deserves to be heard. It's about what we have to say, not how we say it.
Hey guys, my name is Grace. I'm 22. And I've been stuttering since I was 4 years old, I think. And when I found out that I was gonna be on this panel, I was so nervous. I still am a bit nervous. I'm kind of shaking a little bit. And the reason wasn't because of stuttering or public speaking. It was because of the topic. So I don't know if we ever explicitly stated the topic, but it's how we want the world to see us. And I feel like this question brings up a lot for everyone, but for me, it brought up nothing. I literally had no thoughts in my brain. And I was like, that's weird because most of the time I'm good at public speaking and I'm good at saying what I feel, and I feel a lot all of the time. So for me to feel nothing made me nervous because I was like, is there something wrong with me that I don't really care about how the world sees me? Like, I feel like I should have a lot to say, but I have nothing to say because I never really think about that. So then I dug a bit deeper, bless you, and I was like, why is it that I don't care about how the world sees me? And it's interesting because it doesn't come from a place of confidence at all. Like, I'm not confident. I think I portray confidence very well. But on the inside, that's not what I feel at all. So I think the way that I don't care about how others see me stems from the way that I don't care about myself, which is dark and which is definitely not the direction I'm assuming people thought this panel would go. But if I were to say anything else, it wouldn't be the truth. So I think, to be honest, to myself, I need to say that I think one of my biggest fears is the world will one day see me the way I see myself. And that's why I don't care how they see me now, because I'm my own biggest critic by far. Like, I'm my own worst enemy for sure. And I think, like, when I stutter and it takes me a long time, like, I feel like crap about myself, but it's not because of the world at all. It's because of me. Like, I hate stuttering sometimes. Like, it's hard. It's physically exhausting, and it just sucks. Like, it's hard to be a person who stutters. And I think that fact is not talked about enough in the stuttering community. I think we've focused a lot on it's okay to stutter. It's okay, which it is okay to stutter, but no one ever said it wasn't okay. You know what I mean? So I think that's the proof that when we think about stuttering, we think it's bad, but we don't own that. We just cover it up, get this toxic positivity. I don't think that's fair, because I think most of the time it's not real. So when I think about how I want the world to see me, the answer is I don't know. I know how I don't want them to see me, and it's I don't want them to see me the way I see myself. I don't want them to think about stuttering the way that I do, but I think the biggest thing is I want to see myself the way I portray myself to the world. So for me, this question almost doesn't make any sense, and I kind of want to flip it on its head and sort of ask, how do you want to see you? Because I think that matters a lot more than the world. And that's it.
I'm Tammy. I have a son who stutters. And Lee asked me if I would speak about how do I want the world to see my son. And immediately when she asked me that, it was like, I had two feelings immediately. The first feeling was my heart swelled, right? Because I get to talk about my son, who I absolutely adore. And then on the other hand, my heart sank, because this is something I think about every single day, with my son being a stutterer and my son being a Black man, a Black boy. And when you have someone that you adore with immutable traits, you want just for them to be seen at all. And so this is what came up in me. Lewis means lion-like or famous warrior. He was heavy in my body, though he came out a mere 5 pounds and 14 ounces. He was weighty on the inside, so much so that I lost a 1/4 inch in height because of the supplementary curve he put in my lumbar spine. He exited my body and entered this world with force and volume, broad baby shoulders, and a scream that could be heard through several doors. He had arrived. His eyes were deep and ablaze. His breath was strong and rapid. He had fought to get here. When Lewis was a baby, maybe 6 or 7 months old, his father and I were in the car traveling from one place to another and heard a peculiar sound coming from the back seat. His big sister, who's also here today, she had to be about 3 years old at the time. She must have been asleep, because the only sound we heard was his. Lewis was making music. It's not impressive now, but a baby. Right? My husband Lewis and I looked at each other, teeming with amazement. Who is this kid? He loved to sing, to dance. He could find rhythm in everything, everywhere. Pots and pans, empty bottles, stair rails, daddy's drum set, mama's hips. The world was alive with movement and sound. Around first grade, we noticed a unique cadence to his speech. Our house had always been robust with eclectic rhythms, but this one was taboo. We were not only a family of dancers and musicians, we were poets, pontificators, teachers, talkers. Is he stuttering? We were disoriented. The rhythm of the night became wildly staccato, and in the tempest of Google searches and genuinely ignorant well-wishers, he'll grow out of it. He's so smart, his brain is just moving faster than his mouth. He'll grow out of it. This app is called Turtle Talk. Take a deep breath before you speak. He'll grow out of it. I overcame my stutter. He overcame his stutter. This celebrity overcame her stutter. His sister stopped stuttering. He'll grow out of it. He'll grow out of it. He'll grow out of it. Yet he keeps growing. And he keeps stuttering. We lost sight of our son. Enter Patty Walton. Enter Lee Caggiano. Enter our friends. Ye shall know the truth, and the truth shall set you free. So much learning and so much love. So much unlearning and so much love. The Reverend Dr. Jackie Lewis said, "What I know about love is that love can heal a thing." Healing for our family didn't come in the form of fluency, thank God. Instead, our testimony is that sight was restored to the blind. We can see our son again. His myriad colors, cocoa and cafe au lait, hot and cold, cool and warm, we relish in his sound. His inner turntables bring break beats every time he opens his mouth freely. When he speaks, I hear the brilliance of Sonia Sanchez and see the energy of Al Jarreau. We love his stutter. He is wise beyond his years because of it. He is deeply empathetic because of it. He has depth and breadth and height and width because of it. My precious boy. I want the world to see that my son is an instrument not to be played with, but indeed to be heard. I want the world to be patient, yet equally eager as they hang on his every word. See him stand tall and proud. See him dance unhindered and wild. See him protest. See him advocate. See him protect. See him initiate. See him elevate. See him rise. See him excel. See him wise. See him with God's eyes, with love's eyes. That's how I want the world to see my guy.
I'm Cheyenne Williams. I'm from Atlanta. I'm a speech language pathologist and also a person who stutters. And I'm going to share a little bit about the topic today. I'm just going to pause because I feel like I have to ground myself after the expression that you just shared. So, like Grace, I sort of took this this topic and flipped it on its head. I figured that from the topic of how I would like the world to see me, that it just didn't sit right with me either. If I don't have a right view of myself, then how can others see me as someone that's powerful and a conqueror over my circumstances? To me, the real question is how I would like to see myself. For a long time, I only see myself as a stutterer, and the heavy limitations that came with that really left me in a state of stagnation. After I felt like I freed myself from that label of being a stutterer, I found that I hadn't spent much time really even cultivating who I was. I did not know who I was. And to be honest, that was more painful than even identifying with stuttering. Next to my name, I imagined a never-ending blank spaces or ellipses where my story would stop being told. Because of just the fear of not being brave enough to speak up or to present myself authentic to the people around me. And I realized that stuttering was such a small part of the identity issue that I was actually having, and that I actually built an identity around perfectionism that kept me in mental bondage. The perfectionism kept me from speaking. The perfectionism kept me from being. The perfectionism caused me to wear a mask that I wasn't able to unmask. And it was really hard to move myself out of that self-loathing space. I would daydream about my healing and just think like how I would like to be able to heal myself from these wounds of always feeling inferior so that I can really be who I need to be, who God called me to be, what He has spoken to me about. Would I ever achieve that? Would I ever be that? However, I was still afraid to act because the idea of completely letting go, completely trusting myself was too big of a leap for my undeveloped ego. I wanted to finally see myself as a person of action, a person who is no longer toting the line of safety, but going after what I want with vigor. A poet, a dancer, a creative, a butterfly, a human, not perfect, able to fail and to succeed, both being okay. I wanted others to see me as liberated, someone who broke free of their own mental chains and decided to be bold anyway. I want all these things to be a part of what others see in me. And it takes vulnerability to invite people inside of you. For me, my authenticity isn't second nature, meaning who God created me to be. It's not something that I just wake up and it is, because for so long I've worn a mask. For so long I've been multiple people for whomever, and it caused me to lose sight of who I was. So I have to actively choose to be bold, to be big, because who I'm meant to be right now is uncomfortable. But I know that with practice, that I'll get there, that we'll all get there with practice. I think people fall in line when they see that you know who you are, no matter your limitations. They respect you for showing up authentically and doing the work. And so my responsibility is to guard my reflection in that mirror and to be sure that I'm happy with what I'm expressing each day. Thank you.
Good afternoon, thank you. My name is Anthony. I'm from Brooklyn, New York, and I am the dad of Lexi, who is 11 and who stutters. I just first want to say, Lee, what a panel. Oh my gosh. You guys, each and every I'm so impressed and moved by every single one of you. And Grace, I could say, you have to change and see yourself as the wonderful young lady that you are. And I know with time you'll work on that. So when Lee said, talk about how people would like to see your daughter, really the cataclysmic moment in my life that changed how I want people to see my daughter was my first Friends Conference a few years ago. So before my wife Barbara and our older daughter Olivia and I came to Friends, everything was fixated on fluency. And it was all, well, you're smooth today. And let's talk about being smooth and how could we be smooth. And we got a speech therapist who's lovely, who's still, and actually she not only got us to Friends, she still talks to Lexi weekly, not only about speaking, but about life. And she's almost like a life coach, not a speech therapist. And we had all of these elaborate and really intensive schemes as how to become more fluent. Then we came to Friends. And I just want to say, Lee and John and your whole team, you changed our lives in a way that is unmeasurable. It is incalculable, the amount of change and education and knowledge that you gave us about Friends. So prior to going to Friends, the way we wanted people to see Lexi, at least me, was wrong. It was, oh, she should be seen as fluent as possible. Oh my gosh, if I could knock myself out with a left hook, I would do it 1,000,000 times over. And now the way I want people to see her is for the beautiful, intelligent, kind, brave, and not willing to let stuttering interfere with her life, and willing to take risks and to go out and come to Friends and make new friends. And rather than how I wanted people to see her before, I want them to see her now for who she is, which is a beautiful young lady who's getting big a little fast, if you ask me, who happens to stutter just as she happens to have brown eyes and brown hair and love rap music. So I wanted to say to, especially the first time parents here, and I see a lot, and Lee, this was a lot of first time visitors, relish in this experience. This is life altering. You will never have a better experience, not only for your children and they'll make new friends, they'll feel better about themselves. You'll learn and you'll come to peace with yourself. How can I get my child through these struggles? You are unbelievable. You are amazing. And sitting here, I learned listening to you, and it was so eloquent and beautiful and emotional. And I think that's what we all need to feed on, and we all need to take away from this conference. Our children or we as individuals stutter, yes. It's not so important how the message gets out. What's life-altering and most important is that it does get out. However it gets out, you heard these brilliant panelists here. You guys are brilliant. Your ideas are incredible. And it doesn't matter how they get out, it matters that they do get out. So I think Friends, as I said, has been something that's changed not only the way I think, but the way I act, the way I parent, and for you first-time visitors here, I can tell you, the only bad thing about Friends is Sunday morning when you're flying out. Other than that, you're in for the time of your life. Lee, again, we wanted to thank you and John, and to you panelists, incredible, and let's have a great conference. Thank you.